Been hiking for 5 hours and finally Patara is in sight. This is the ancient Lycian city. You can see from up here perhaps the amphitheatre or the other kinds of ruins down there. Used to be a city. Still got a little bit of a hike to get down the hill there. Well, I'm now in the ancient city of Patara, which is one of the civilization, the cities of the old Lycian civilizations, and the Lycians. A lot of this looks like Roman. This looks like a Roman Colosseum, but the Lycians were actually. They're first documented by a Hittite king, and the Hittites spoke an Aryan language. It was related to English and German, and the Hittite king said that he did sacrifices to the gods here, and there's a record of a city here, but the Lycian people didn't speak that Hittite language. Hittites were from they're in sort of central Turkey. This is western Turkey near the Greek border, and they spoke an ancient Anatolian language here, and that Hittite record is from about 3,300 years ago, 13th century BC. But later records exist of this area, including Alexander the Great. He conquered the city, and at one time it was under Roman administration. But it's even endured long into the Christian era, because there are some Christian church ruins here from early Christianity, and of course this is sort of on the Crusader route, the pilgrimage route. At one time this was under. I think the Knights of Rhodes used to be in this area, but that was sort of as the Lycian civilization was all kind of disappearing. Now it's just a lot of crumbling ruins, but they're actually quite well preserved, because the Turks, when they arrived here in the early medieval era and later converted to Islam, they weren't really very interested in all this kind of crumbling ruins of what went before, and so for hundreds of years they've just sort of stood around and they haven't been messed around with, which is very good, because now we can enjoy them, as long as ISIS don't get their hands on it. That hill in the background there, this one is the one I hiked over to get here. It's funny to think of how this street, was the main street of a huge city, with many people living here and people sailing across the Mediterranean to come and trade here, Hittites or Greeks or whatever, Egyptians, and now there's no one here, and all there is ruins. It's a poignant reminder of the temporary nature of civilization, how it can fall. In fact, even ruins like these, what record we have of the past, it's exist on shaky foundations these days. With, we're not very far. I'm not very far away right now from Syria and the Daesh, as they're called, or ISIS, the people who like to blow up all the evidence of the great civilizations that once existed here. I think that Turkey, before it was Turkey, we had all these different Indo-European civilizations like the Trojans, the Hittites, all kinds existed here, and I think that we have, as Western Indo-Europeans, this is a land that we can look at as being kind of our heritage and a reminder of what happens when your civilization crumbles and there's no one to remember it. Just behind this facade, which is all crumbled down and fallen, the 4 columns here would have been, quite a spectacular sight before it all came down. And behind this is a granary store dedicated to the Emperor Hadrian, and it says on it, there's an inscription on there, on the ruins, it says that the people of Patara recognize the Emperor Hadrian as Zeus Olympus and his wife Sabina as the new Hera. And it's so fascinating, to see this old Indo-European tradition of exalting political leaders as gods, and even seeing them as manifestations of gods, of ancient gods, in this case Greek gods, and Roman emperors. It's kind of interesting how the Lycian and Greek and Roman different pantheons are kind of get mixed up and combined. The word Zeus itself comes from the word Deus, or Deus, which is presumed to be the chief god of the ancient Indo-European pantheon. And from his name we take not only the word Zeus, but also the word Dios, meaning God, and the word Tu, and Tyr, the god of battle in Norse mythology, and the god from whom the English take the name Tuesday. He was, prior to Odin, presumed to have been the most important god in Germanic mythology, and that's a reflection of the importance of Deus in the ancient Indo-European mythology, which is still evident when you see in Greek mythology with the primacy of Zeus.